More than a decade ago, one of the greatest voices in music suddenly went silent. Fans around the world asked the same heartbreaking question. How could a woman who filled stadiums with her powerful songs lose the very gift that made her famous? For years, people believed there was more to the story than they were being told. Now, at 78, Linda Ronstadt has spoken with remarkable honesty about her life, her health, and the painful truth behind her silence. And what she revealed feels less like a shocking confession and more like the answer millions of fans had quietly suspected all along. Linda Ronstadt was never just another singer. She became a voice for generations, moving with ease from rock to country, pop, folk, and even traditional Mexican music. Few artists have ever crossed so many musical worlds with the same success. Yet behind every standing ovation was a woman carrying private battles that the public could not see. As she later shared in interviews, including conversations with CBS Sunday Morning and NPR, fame never protected her from heartbreak or loss. It simply made those struggles harder to hide. Many people assumed they knew Linda because of her music. They saw the confidence on stage. They heard the strength in every note. But the real Linda often described herself as someone who cared more about the music than the spotlight. She never chased celebrity the way many stars did. She wanted the songs to speak louder than her name. That choice earned her deep respect, but it also allowed many parts of her personal life to remain a mystery. Before we uncover how everything changed, here's something we'd love to know from you. If you suddenly lost the one talent that had shaped your entire life, how would you keep moving forward? Let us know your thoughts in the comments because every answer tells a different story. The twist in Linda's journey did not happen overnight. Long before doctors found the real cause of her illness, she noticed something strange. The notes that once came so naturally began slipping away. At first, she thought she was simply getting older or feeling tired after years of performing. But deep inside, she knew something was wrong. Every performance became a little harder. Every song carried a little more fear. What happened next would not only end one of the greatest singing careers in history, but also force Linda Ronstadt to rebuild her life in a way no fan ever expected. And the truth behind that painful chapter is even more emotional than most people realize. Long before she became a music legend, Linda Ronstadt was simply a young girl growing up in Tucson, Arizona. Music was everywhere in her home. Her father loved traditional Mexican songs, while her family also enjoyed country, folk, and classic American music. Without realizing it, Linda was learning something that would later make her different from almost every singer of her time. She did not believe music belonged in one single box. As a child, she was shy in many ways. She was not chasing fame or dreaming about red carpets. She simply loved to sing. Friends and family noticed that her voice was special, but no one could predict just how far it would take her. Even then, Linda cared more about making people feel something than showing off her talent. But life had a bigger test waiting. After high school, she made a choice that many thought was too risky. Instead of following a safe path, she packed her bags and moved to Los Angeles during the 1960s. It was a city filled with dreamers, and thousands of young musicians were fighting for the same chance. Most never made it. Linda had no promise of success, no famous family connections, and no guarantee that anyone would even listen. Still, she refused to give up. Her first major break came with the folk rock group The Stone Ponies. Their hit song Different Drum, written by Michael Nesmith, introduced her unforgettable voice to a national audience. Even though the band gained attention, listeners kept talking about one person. Linda's powerful vocals stood out in every performance. But that early success created a new problem. Record companies wanted to place her into one simple category. Was she a country singer? A rock singer? A folk artist? Linda refused to accept those limits. She believed great music had no borders. That decision confused some executives, but it would later become one of the smartest choices of her career. Just when it seemed she had found success, her career slowed again. Several of her early solo albums received strong reviews but sold poorly. For many artists, repeated disappointments like these would have ended the dream. Money became tight and the pressure kept growing. Behind the scenes, Linda later admitted that there were moments when she wondered if she had made the wrong decision by leaving home. According to her memoir, Simple Dreams, she often questioned herself, but she never stopped working. That determination caught the attention of other musicians. She built friendships with talented artists who believed in her long before she became a superstar. Among them were future members of Eagles, who performed as part of her touring band before launching one of the biggest groups in rock history. Looking back, many music historians have pointed to Linda's early tours as an important stepping stone in their careers. But Linda was still searching for the breakthrough that would change everything. Every small concert, every failed album, and every difficult audition was quietly preparing her for a moment nobody could have imagined. The young woman who refused to let the music industry define her was about to become one of the biggest recording stars in the world. And when that breakthrough finally arrived, it happened faster, and on a much larger scale than anyone expected. When Linda Ronstadt finally found her breakthrough, it was impossible to ignore. In 1974, her album Heart Like a Will changed everything. Songs like You're No Good and When Will I Be Loved climbed the charts. And suddenly the woman who had struggled for years became one of the biggest names in music. Critics praised her incredible range, and fans packed arenas just to hear her sing live. But success came with a new kind of pressure. Every record company wanted another hit. Every tour became bigger than the last. Linda could have stayed with the same sound that made her famous, but that was never her style. Instead, she kept surprising everyone. One album leaned toward country. The next explored rock. Then came pop, folk, jazz standards, and even traditional Mexican songs honoring her family's heritage. While others followed trends, Linda followed her heart. That choice made her one of the most respected artists of her generation. By the late 1970s, she was selling millions of albums around the world. Her concerts sold out within hours. She appeared on magazine covers, won Grammy Awards, and worked with some of the greatest musicians in history. Artists like Dolly Parton, Emmylou Harris, Neil Young, and James Taylor admired not only her voice but also her fearless approach to music. According to music historians and her own interviews, Linda believed the best songs deserved to be heard, no matter what genre they belonged to. Yet behind those unforgettable performances, another story was quietly unfolding. Life in the spotlight was exhausting. Endless travel, recording sessions, interviews, and concerts left little room for a normal personal life. Linda later admitted that she never felt comfortable with the celebrity side of fame. She loved making music, but she disliked the constant attention that came with it. While the public saw confidence, she often felt happiest when she could step away from the cameras. Then came relationships that fascinated the media. Her romances with California Governor Jerry Brown and filmmaker George Lucas became regular headlines. Reporters wanted to know everything about her private life. But Linda rarely gave them what they wanted. She protected her personal world, choosing silence over gossip. That decision only made the public more curious. And then she made another surprising choice. Instead of getting married, Linda focused on building a family in her own way. She adopted 2 children and devoted herself to raising them. In later interviews, she described motherhood as one of the greatest joys of her life. It gave her a purpose beyond awards and record sales. While fans celebrated her music, Linda found happiness in moments that cameras rarely captured. Just when it seemed she had achieved everything an artist could dream of, the first warning signs appeared. At first, they were easy to dismiss. A missed note here, a little more strain there. She assumed years of touring had simply caught up with her. Few people noticed the difference, and Linda kept performing. But deep inside, she sensed that something wasn't right. The frightening part was that no one, not even experienced doctors at first, could explain why one of the strongest voices in modern music was slowly slipping away. What happened next would change Linda Ronstadt's life forever. Before we reveal the heartbreaking diagnosis that ended an extraordinary career, make sure you subscribe. We uncover the untold stories behind the world's biggest legends, the moments that history often leaves out. For years, Linda Ronstadt believed the problem was temporary. Her voice had always been strong. She could sing soft ballads one night and powerful rock songs the next. So when she began missing notes, She blamed stress, fatigue, or simply getting older. After decades of non-stop touring and recording, that seemed like the most reasonable answer. But the problem refused to go away. Each performance became more difficult than the last. Songs she had sung hundreds of times suddenly felt impossible. She could hear the music in her mind, but her voice would not obey. It was confusing, frustrating, and deeply frightening. Fans noticed that Linda was performing less often, but few understood the real reason. Many assumed she had chosen a quiet retirement after such an incredible career. The truth was far more painful. In 2009, Linda made the heartbreaking decision to stop singing publicly. At the time, even she did not fully understand what was happening. She simply knew that the voice that had shaped her entire life was disappearing. Then came the diagnosis. In 2013, during interviews with AARP and CBS Sunday Morning, Linda revealed that doctors had first diagnosed her with Parkinson's disease. She explained that the illness had taken away her ability to sing. The news shocked millions of fans around the world. How could one of the greatest voices in modern music be silenced forever? But the story did not end there. Years later, specialists took another closer look. They discovered that Linda's condition was actually progressive supranuclear palsy, often called PSP. It is a rare brain disorder that can look very similar to Parkinson's disease in its early stages. Linda spoke openly about this updated diagnosis in later interviews, helping people understand that the disease affects movement, balance, speech, and many everyday activities. Even after finally learning the truth, there was no simple cure. Imagine spending your entire life doing the one thing you love most, only to have it taken away piece by piece. Linda has said that she can still hear music perfectly in her mind. She remembers every note, every harmony, every emotion. But her body can no longer produce the sound that once moved millions of people. That quiet loss is almost impossible to imagine. Yet something remarkable happened. Instead of hiding from the public, Linda chose honesty. She began speaking about living with her illness, not to gain sympathy, but to help others facing difficult health battles. She appeared in documentaries, interviews, and public conversations, showing the same courage that had carried her through decades in the music industry. Her openness inspired countless fans.